You don't check the app anymore. You know the number. You've known it for months. Minus $40,000. Not a mortgage, not a business loan, just life. Borrowed piece by piece, paid back in minimums that never touch the part that matters. The minimum payment is due on the 3rd. You make it. You always make it. That's the trick that keeps you trapped. You're never late enough to feel like a failure, never current enough to feel like you're winning. You stop opening statements. You know what's in them. Interest. Always interest. You paid $340 this month and $301 of it vanished into a number you'll never see move. You do the math anyway, standing in the shower, lying awake at 1 a.m. If I pay this card off first, I free up $60 a month. If I pay that one first, I save more in interest. You've run this math 100 times. You've never run it on paper. Running it in your head feels safer. Paper makes it real. Your friends talk about vacations. You nod. You don't say the word debt. Nobody says the word debt. Everyone around you is carrying something. Nobody admits how much. At minus $40,000, money isn't a tool, it's a leash. Every dollar you earn already belongs to someone else before it lands in your account. You're not spending. You're just choosing who gets paid first. First rule, debt doesn't feel like a number. It feels like a ceiling you can't see, only feel. You did something you've never done. You wrote it all down. Every balance, every rate, every due date, on one page, in one place. It took an hour. You cried for 10 minutes of it. Not because the number was worse than you thought, because seeing it made it real, and real things can be fought. You pick the smallest balance first. Not the smartest math, the smallest number. You've read that this is wrong, that the interest rate method saves more money. You do it anyway, because you need a win you can see before you can trust a plan you can't. You pay it off in 6 weeks. $1,200. Gone. You don't celebrate loudly. You just sit there, staring at a zero that used to be a debt, and something shifts. You don't have a name for yet. You start saying no to things that don't matter. A subscription, a delivery fee, a just this once that used to happen every week. Each no feels small. Each no adds up to a payment you didn't have before. You still feel behind. You are still behind. But for the first time, the number is moving in a direction you chose. Second rule, below zero, progress isn't measured in comfort, it's measured in direction. 3 cards are gone, 1 loan left. You know its balance the way you used to know your rent, instantly, without checking. $9,840. Something changes in how you sleep. Not deeply, not yet. But the 1 a.m. math sessions get shorter. You've already done the math. You just have to execute it now. A friend asks to borrow $200. 6 months ago, you'd have said yes and quietly resented it for weeks. Now you say no, and you don't feel guilty. You've learned the difference between being generous and being unable to protect your own plan. An unexpected expense hits. $380. Car repair. 6 months ago, this would have become a new card, a new minimum, a new leash. Instead, it comes out of an emergency fund you built on purpose for exactly this. You watch the fund drop, and your chest doesn't tighten. You rebuild it in a month. You start reading about interest the way you used to read about escape, not motivation. Mechanics. How it compounds against you when you owe, and how the same math will someday compound for you instead. Third rule, the fastest way out of debt isn't a bigger income, it's a system that doesn't depend on willpower every single day. 0. Not a dollar in savings, not a dollar owed. For the first time in years, you don't belong to anyone. You expect to feel triumphant. Instead, you feel strange, almost unmoored, like a weight you carried so long you forgot it was a weight, and now your shoulders don't know what to do without it. The payment that used to go to the loan, $410 a month, doesn't disappear. You redirect it on purpose before you can miss it into anything else, savings. Then an index fund you'd never opened because there was never anything left to put in it. You still check your balance daily. Old habit, but the checking has changed character. It used to be dread. Now it's closer to disbelief. People who knew you at minus $40,000 don't know this version of you exists. You don't explain it. It would take too long, and some of it you're only starting to understand yourself. Fourth rule: zero isn't the finish line. It's the first square foot of ground you've ever actually owned. The number that used to represent debt now represents savings, and the distance between those two versions of $25,000 is the entire story of the last 3 years. You don't panic about small emergencies anymore. They're just line items. A $500 repair is inconvenient. It is not a catastrophe. That distinction, the one between inconvenient and catastrophic, is worth more than the money itself. You notice something uncomfortable. Some of your closest friendships were built on shared financial anxiety, on the unspoken agreement that nobody was doing okay. As you stabilize, a few of those friendships get quieter. Not because anyone did anything wrong, because the thing that bonded you doesn't apply anymore, and you haven't found what replaces it yet. You start investing without flinching. Not much, but on purpose, every month, whether you feel like it or not. Fifth rule: getting out of debt teaches you to survive. Staying out teaches you to build. Somewhere right now, someone is standing at a gas pump, doing math they didn't choose to learn, minus $40,000, a minimum payment due on the 3rd, a leash they can't see but feel every day. This isn't a story about debt. It's a story about the gap between the version of you that's trapped and the version of you that decides, on one ordinary Tuesday, to write the number down. The number doesn't care who you are. It doesn't ask if you're ready. It just waits for you to look at it,